Keeler Michael. That's all. Yeah. I'm gonna definitely include some alien construct articles to this right here.
So you're gonna record this? Am I gonna get a video of it or?
Yeah, well, it only records audio, so
Okay.
I'll just email. There's this we transfer that I'm on right now,
Okay.
and I'm gonna send you some links that will come with this audio as well.
Okay.
So right now I'm on an alien construct article. Well, let me show you actually. So basically, this is the we. I'm basically sharing a link from this website right here. And I've included that there. The alien constructs, you have Pluto and Uranus, Jupiter, all falling on the rising with the sun. And that is like, wow. So I look forward to coming into that. But Pluto and Uranus falling in that first house is an instrument alien construct.
No way.
Yeah, it's actually very significant. So I'm going to include that for you right here. So
you're the best.
Yeah, you're rating it in the article as well. So to see all that concentration of placement.
Yeah,
to see all that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you're straight. So yeah, as you can see, like Neptune instrument aliens can reflect the inherent God and goddess within each human being, assist the dying crossing over. Uranian instruments can see the future, express genius, channel high frequency beings. So what we're gonna uncover with that right off the bat, Virgo is the archetype and the zodiac sign of the critic, and also the master. So, by definition, you are the master. And if Gemini is enlightenment and Sagittarius is ascension, Pisces is now the ascended master. So the reason why this is significant, one is going to have a lot to do with just the stellium here alone, like seeing all this concentration of Virgo placements. Anytime I do a reading with Virgo placements, there's always insane precision. We always see like degrees conjuncting or connecting at the exact degree. And where Scorpio is specificity, Virgo is precision, and of course it's analysis. So by very definition, you are analytical, but now the depth and level of analysis you're able to pretty much express in one moment is, I would pretty much say, legendary. Where people may not realize within moments you've already analyzed their body language and you're able to really understand facets of how they're saying what they're saying. Listen to I can only imagine you deal with so much delusion from other people, and it's like you're here to help literally set people straight, or at least help them see what's real. Not to say that you're above criticism, but I mean, seeing the king of the gods, Jupiter, and then Mercury in its exaltation on your AC is just such a ridiculous attainment. I have Mercury on my AC in Taurus, though. You having it in Virgo is the embodiment of the magician with Jupiter, the wheel of fortune, the empress with Venus. So, I do focus a bit on this level of embodiment right here, as far as like how you put yourself in a position to open up, and with Uranus and Pluto, you're awakening not only because Virgo is a social sign, where Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer is individual, then Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio are social. This is having you embody real social dynamics. So it's like your presence alone is not only awakening and transformative, but highly innovative. And just seeing Uranus here in the rising means that you express analytical, claircognizant genius that's outside the box. So just having Virgo is going to be, someone being able to look at a situation inductively and deductively, analyze that like within, a couple minutes. But with you, you're able to just already automatically know what to analyze and where to really start, noticing and focusing, I would assume. And I think this gives you a more uncanny embodiment and sense to not only really repair a situation and bring this change, because as mutable signs, we're agents of change, but it's really going to interface relative to how you can adjust to who you're speaking to and provide this criticism. Because with the empty Pisces house, seventh house, this is that open space that allows others to really project to you their beliefs. And you're able to really form beliefs based off of other people you're with, based off of this analysis of you. So let's actually go down each of the planets. You were born on the new moon, which is very significant. So that represents an activation of magic, an activation of analysis. You're an omen whenever someone's getting ready to change their behavior or change their life or change their habits, they're probably going to meet you. And to see Jupiter, the king of the gods, Mercury here is going to represent that your capacity to make very critical, analyze, detailed, insights and decisions are going to also be expansive. So this just represents how much more you're able to evolve and take a situation and change it and add to it, but also, of course, analyze, break down, and provide that necessary criticism.
Welcome to Dial Pad Meetings. This meeting is being recorded by the organizer.
Here we go.
Sorry about that. Oh my God.
No, you're straight.
Holy shit. I kind of lost you for some reason there, Are you?
No,
yeah, you were talking about Pisces and sorry, Michael. I clicked on something and I lost you. I don't know where you went.
No, it's cool. And thankfully, yeah, you'll still anything that may be missed being recording. But yeah, considering what you just said about Mercury retrograde, I think this is an interesting sneak peek. But yeah, I think Jupiter next to your AC. What I've been studying is constructs, God constructs, like planets that are next to the sun, moon, or rising. You having Jupiter so close to your AC, so close to the moon,
right?
You're a vessel of an instrument of this. We could even say royalty. Virgo is if Taurus is like a king, Virgo is like a prince, right? But and prince having a higher rank than king or queen. But this is where we are seeing, and that's what I really appreciate, this concentration of focus. So this would really suggest that you have you have abilities to focus. But before I say that, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, the four zodiac signs after the first four, they're all social super signs. So they integrate individuality from the first four signs, and then they express socially. So Virgo is a social sign. Virgo rising means you have a social personality, social spirit, social soul, even if you're introverted, because Virgo is still the hermit, right? But it represents real social dynamics going out there. So to see, Mercury here, this is going to represent, just with all this concentration, enhanced with Jupiter, superpowers of analysis, enhanced synesthesia. Pluto and Uranus add a supernatural quality to this that pretty much give you a form of God embodiment, where you're able to now tap in beyond the transpersonal and beyond the physical to still ground what you're picking up collectively relative to everything in this real moment. And that's what I really want to get to when we get to Pluto and Uranus, because now this takes everything to a much deeper level. Like Pluto and Uranus and Virgo, representative of the late 60s and earlier in the late 50s, it's like analyzing details, but with a microscope, with a magnifying glass, and with those lenses,
like heavy duty.
Yeah, heavy duty. It's like I like to believe that the Virgo is going to be able to analyze the blinds on a window. They're going to be able to analyze details, but the Pluto Uranus Virgos are able to look microscopically and really see how all that. So for all this to really align with who you are as an instrument of these facets, it first of all, I would say out of all like the thousands of charts I've read, this is, I think, the first, if not second or third, but I think first chart I've seen this heavily concentrated.
No way, really?
Yeah, yeah. And then especially being born in 68, to see Pluto and Uranus here, like I've seen Virgo stelliums, but I've never seen a Virgo stellium like this. And that's where it's like, it's not a coincidence where with this level of precision, you being born right next to Jupiter and then Mercury, it really speaks of this royalty that you kind of bring to you. You stepping, in fact, even me speaking to you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if something serendipitous happens to me and like I come into good luck, because you're literally magic at your core, your embodiment. You facilitate this real change that functions and helps really align things with what's real. And given the evil that comes from ignorance, beliefs, and that's what's going to make Pisces the opposite, because Virgo is analytical, Pisces is beliefs, collective beliefs. Virgo has to oppose Pisces, because if we just believe anything and we don't necessarily have a basis for what's factual, people will just make stuff up. So this is where with Saturn opposite you in Pisces, it could really represent, being against the world in a sense, or just having to deal with that collective narrative and belief, and people, if anything, demonizing you for not enabling their delusions. And that's really been the battle for Virgo. But you principally embody this at a level where I think most people never will. And to see Jupiter here, it brings this larger than life presence that is, I think, a form of a Midas touch, where you're always going to really expand and evolve maybe even the smallest or slightest details to show what more is a part of this. But we see this aligns all with who you are and how you express yourself. So Mercury, when we talk about Mercury is in its exaltation and dignity in Virgo, representative, of course, of the highly analytical ways you're able to break down speech patterns, body language, and really kind of get deeper, to a more detailed understanding of the situation. And then Venus here, the Nine of Pentacles in Tarot, which is wealth, is now going to represent the polish and the beauty, right, of how you're able to not only embody this natural beauty, but to now add beauty to the way you communicate. Mercury next to the AC indicates someone who knows what they want. Your brain is very sharp. You're able to communicate yourself very well. That's one thing we both share in common. It's just, I have my Mercury in Taurus. Your Mercury in Virgo is at a higher, more mature level that really now conduces more social conversation, analysis, but now aligning that to express how you analyze it, how you behave around it. And Venus here is really just going to add so much more beauty and polish and charm to how you express this. So far, knowing that all this happened on the new moon cycle aligns this embodiment of this new change of behavior, this activation of, this reality, to now how you evolve it. Mercury is going to be your ability to wrap your brain around all of this. And Venus is how you manifest this charm. So by the time we get to Pluto and Uranus, this quite literally now awakens us to a deeper level. And whenever I see contacts with Pluto, Pluto is going to really, to me, denote awakening people, awakening people out of unconscious influences, which I feel like in Virgo could be mannerisms, detailed understanding of things people may not necessarily be aware of when it comes to how it is they express themselves. And something like this can make you not only intimidating, but attract a certain or bring a certain reaction out of people that could have them maybe it doesn't have to be bad. Like I feel like if there's no ego around it, then they may thank you. But if they are stuck in their ego, then it could, especially with Chiron and Aries, that heals authenticity by triggering those who are inauthentic, it could kind of express itself in that way. Before we go, though, into the Libra second house, because as a Virgo rising, Libra in your second house means that you manifest classic value, okay? And in manifesting classic value, it puts you in a position to now build money from partnerships, to connect and to add more, like the way you make money. And to make sense of this, once again, my rising is in Taurus, and so my second house is Gemini of communication. I got paid so I could communicate with you. So this is how I activate and manifest my second house. You have your second house in Libra. So compared to me, this is like the next stage. So whereas I'm connecting and manifesting one-on-one communication, you're in these social spaces manifesting partnerships with people. As they say, partnerships are the key to success. You add social value to whoever it is you're engaging with, and this is how not only you get paid, but with the South Node in Libra, you came into this lifetime to establish this social value and to invest in individuals, which we'll talk about with the North Node in Aries, connected with Saturn of karma, which seems to be the challenge of your destiny attached with healing, where it's going to be challenging for you to trust the right individuals with your value and to really transform facets of their identity and to move forward passionately, amongst other things. Whenever we see like a North Node in the 8th house, you're taking the South Node, your second house resources, as a resource in order to find the right individuals to invest what you have towards and to transform those partnerships. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, that's really awesome. That's really awesome because
Yeah,
with go ahead.
I used to manage my mom's apartment buildings for like over 30 years, and she just passed away in June of 2023 last year. So she kind of like forced me, in my mind, to be her slave and do her work for her, and I never really wanted. I had other things I wanted to do than to be an apartment manager for my mom, But now that she passed away, I wrote a book. I wrote a poetry book. This is my poetry book right here, Water Slide Time Machine Portals. I just finished my second poetry book last month on Halloween, and that's in my editor. I have another book that I've done. It's in my editor now too, a second editor. It's called Embracing Divine Love.
Spiritual print. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Embracing Divine Love. An essay on how to know thyself by integrating spiritual principles. I was a drug addict when I was a teenager and in my 20s. And when I turned 27, around my Saturn return, I became clean in November 20th, 1994. This past November 20th, I just celebrated 30 years clean and sober, no drugs or alcohol. And I've been a part of a 12-step group, Narcotics Anonymous, since then. However, I went to Greece this year after my mom passed away for a month. And I want to move to Greece next summer in like July, August. And my father left me and my sister 4.5 acres of land on the Mediterranean over there. So I want to build a couple of houses over there and make that my home base. Jupiter line is on my MC. Astrocartography at all or no?
I've heard of it. I've looked up certain lines.
Okay.
But,
if I live on Kiparisia, my dad's hometown, that would be on my Jupiter line, my MC Jupiter line. And then I might live in Kalamata, which is my Mercury line, my Mercury MC line. So I'm leaning towards Kalamata. I'm living on my Mercury line. And when I got back from Greece in June, I got back June 1st. I've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as well for the past year since then. And now in July, I shifted and I left and said goodbye to everybody in Narcotics Anonymous. I said, fuck you all, motherfuckers, pieces of shit. And I left, and now I'm in a whole new tribe, I guess you can call it. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got a sponsor now. I'm working steps. I have a home group. I've been to a lot of meetings, and the main reason I left was because in Narcotics Anonymous, they stopped talking about God. They stopped talking about God as a solution, and I was telling everybody, and then people weren't coming as much as they used to, and I'm like, Narcotics Anonymous is dying, and nobody was listening to me. I became the public relations chair for 6 months. Nobody came to my meetings, and I said, fuck this shit, you know? I want to go somewhere where they talk about God, and that's what they're doing in Alcoholics Anonymous. And now I picked up my my medallion at a meeting that has over 200 people every week. Okay? In Narcotics Anonymous, that's not possible. There's no such meeting that has 200 people every week. Maybe like 20. You know, so I said, hell no to Narcotics Anonymous, and I left. I left my fucking tribe for 29 years that I was with them, and now I'm in a whole completely new fellowship, really. And I'm gonna have to say goodbye to them when I go to Greece.
Well, I have chills now because Jupiter is gonna go into your 11th house of tribe and community next year, and that sounds like you're coming into a brand new like social circle, or you're evolving your social circle. So that's and Saturn in your 7th is raising the standards of who you part with. So I appreciate you sharing that, because that was very, very, very revealing. And you had mentioned, yes, the Jupiter MC line. I would, if you're able to check that place out.
Yeah, I did. I like it.
Okay, because Jupiter is on your MC in Gemini right now. So, right. 2016 is where you had your last Jupiter return, and you stepped into a brand new 12-year chapter of evolution. 2022 is when you began to harvest 6 years worth of evolution since 2016.
Okay.
And now you're finally completing it. It's leveling up your legacy. This is the completion of everything you've evolved since 2016. And that's why I feel like being in that area during this period could probably facilitate being on that line, more career opportunities. Even if you don't like live there or stay there, I think it's good that you were there. So thanks for mentioning that. But that's a lot to look forward to. Next year, 2025, is going to go into Cancer. It's going to begin to close that out by giving you the rewards. So I think that's a very important thing. Everything since 2016, you're coming into massive rewards for it. And everything about 7th house Pisces is divine partnerships. You guys sponsor that for other people. And it's like introducing God into the equation as well. And so this is that karma that Saturn since 2023 has been having you hold others accountable to. The integrity of how their beliefs affect you. And I think that's what you kind of showed me, like, you know, in them not putting God into what they're doing, but also just, you know, reflecting whether people live out what they believe or not, and how if they don't, Saturn in your 7th house will weed them away from your life. So this is actually harvesting everything that you started 2008, because 2008 Saturn was in Virgo, and now you've completed that, and you're getting ready for your Saturn return like 2027, 2028. So I think it's really great fulfillment. Mars is retrograde. It's going to return in your chart next year. But just to kind of go over that stellium once again in Virgo, like, it's definitely, once again, the mutable signs are magic. So it really does facilitate how well you're able to take the perspective and make it real, change it, help people understand and be aware of what's real. Because I always say Gemini answers the question what, Pisces answers the question why, Sagittarius answers what does it mean, and Virgo answers the question how things work, how we analyze things. So it wouldn't be far off to say, you know, you are a living analyzer, critic, right? But the presence of Jupiter, Pluto, and Uranus adds so much more of a godly essence to this, that now with Uranus, it's going to represent your identity as a social innovator. And you literally showed me how like, you know, in shaking up what needs to be shaken up, so necessary changes come so that it can evolve, so that it can grow. But yeah, seeing Uranus here, now that Uranus is 27 degrees Taurus, is once in a lifetime. Like you've now drawn up this innovation you've embodied, and you're grounding it philosophically on how well you can now manifest this unconventionality, relative to how you show people your genius, quite literally. And you're able to, ground it relative to how you teach what it is you practically, manifest. I think your writing is also a great example of this, because with all these placements, people reading your book will feel into that magical experience. Even if on the surface it's just them reading words on a page, it's like you've infused that nature into these books, into this writing. So I think that's also very awesome. Now, in seeing all this, we know that Virgo is analysis, which then makes Scorpio psychoanalysis. And Scorpio is going to now, if Virgo is going to be more the physical counterpart of analysis, it's going to really look at the details and facts, Scorpio is going to now dive deeper into psychoanalytical influences, into one's psychology and psyche. And to see that you have Neptune in Scorpio, I've always looked at Neptune in Scorpio as very interesting and pure, just relative to how deep it is, and how anyone who had my mom has this. She was born in I think 62, and it's a level of psychic ability that's so uncanny that I've seen The Mentalist. The person who wrote the show The Mentalist, he does a show out here, and I've seen him twice. He was born with Sun and Neptune on Scorpio, and he's using real psychic abilities. Like, I think he knows how to perform it. Like, oh, it's a trick, but like, it made me respect your generation and this year, because you guys have matured this level of. I mean, he does mentalism, so it could really just be like magic tricks, but and engaging the psyche and really being able to peer. He was reading people's minds on stage and stuff, which I do believe you also have this ability to read minds as well. But it's like the Neptune aspect in the third house is going to actually represent a psychological super ability. And Scorpio is psychological super strength. So everything that you analyze, the way I see it is like you'll analyze everything on your person. Like you can just kind of very quickly, it's literally impossible to lie to you. Like you're going to be aware and understand.
Nobody lies to me. Well, if they do, if they do, you know what I like to do? That's when I lie to people. When I find out people are lying to me, I lie back to them, and I send them on a wild fucking goose chase, and I laugh at them. I laugh at those motherfuckers. Excuse my language. But you got to realize that for the past 29 years, I've been going into rooms of people, at least like 10 to 20 rooms of people, and when I walk in, I could completely read the room, and some people just don't like me at all, and some people love me, and I think that's the Pluto and Uranus. The Pluto actually, some people get drawn towards me really well, and others are like, what are you talking about, John?
I have chills. The Pluto makes people extremely hate you or extremely love you. There's no
So I get that, because I've been going to these rooms like for years, and I could totally feel the energy when I walk in. And the lies, I despise lies.
No, but still that's really revealing. And I think it's because there's a purity. I think Pluto adds such a pureness or an extremeness to maybe your aura or how real you are. I always like to say Virgo is the realest zodiac sign. Like y'all aren't going to really sugarcoat it for people. You're going to keep it real. And I think that slight extreme and unconventionality is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable who are afraid of change, who are too tapped into tradition, because they don't know you're literally here to change and innovate that. And once you show up, it's never going to be the same. So that could also make people uneasy. But now Neptune in Pisces is going to be the intangible element, the non-linear element that's going to have to discern intuitively through your imagination what you're analyzing is on a deeper level. And I want to really speak to that, because Neptune here in the third is going to open up. It's like having the analysis and details, and then your Neptune is now peering deeper in. Like, okay, I see this person, they didn't take a shower, but the Neptune's maybe it's because they had a fight with their mom this morning. Like, you could definitely discern unseen metaphysical phenomena just intuitively that aids what we
How
are
did
now.
you know I didn't take a shower this morning?
Oh my God.
I had to run to the hospital.
Hey, it is what it is. It is
Yeah.
what it is. But yeah,
Sorry,
but,
I got in your role.
No, you're straight. And I'm very marveled by this aspect though, like to see the Neptune sextile specifically Pluto and Uranus. So it takes those supernatural aspects of the analysis, and I feel like it effortlessly and claircognizantly feeds you with just insight there's no way you could have known unless you really like know that person. I just wanted to fish to see if that's accurate for you, because the Neptune at like I remember my mom called me one day and she asked me if I was smoking because she had a dream of me smoking.
Oh wow.
And she'll right, like stuff, just indirect stuff like that, where it's like you're able to gain information from literally dreams, otherworldly senses. In this case, in the third house, it's going to be a very strong psychoanalytical discernment that will always aid your analysis. That'll have you really, I think, like you said, read the room and sense the true motives of who you're connecting with. Because in the third house, this is most definitely a skill set. And it enables you to apply this wisdom and depth of psychological analysis to, I think, really have people unknowingly snitch on themselves, really reveal their true motives while they don't even realize. You could be having a small talk conversation with them and you discern these things from their mannerisms and the way they move their body and say things, that I think it gives you so much more insight than the average person may even be aware. And go ahead.
People tell me stuff like they never tell anybody else,
Right.
but they intuitively know they could trust me with it, because I'm a vault. You know, I'm not gonna repeat the stuff that people have told me. You know, and they kind of know. I don't know if they know that, how they know that, but one thing I'll tell you one job I used to do. I used to be an outside salesperson for a dealership with ADT, and
Okay.
I used to knock on 100 doors a day selling alarm systems. And I was basically in people's homes every night. I was in people's homes. So I got really good at convincing people to let me into their homes. And I did that for 3 years. It was a 100% commission job. So if I didn't sell, I didn't get paid. And I'd be in people's homes all the time. And like their pets, their cats and dogs, they would come up to me. I'd call their names and I'd snap my fingers and I'd pat my leg. And they're like, these people would be like, John, my cat never comes out for anybody, but she came out for you, you know. And my dog, he's always hiding from people or whatever, and like, but they would come to me, you know, and that showed them that they could trust me for the sale, you know. And I did that for 3 years straight, knocking on doors, you know.
I appreciate that, because that shows me Saturn in the 8th, the trust, the 8th house of trust. And I feel like that ties into your karma of being able to, that challenging karma of gaining people's trust. Because the 8th house is other people's money.
Right.
It's people trusting you with their identity, with who they are. And it's like you have the integrity to really unlock that, heal that. That's another thing, healing too. It's like during these instances, it's like people are probably able to trust the right people more because of these situations, even if indirectly. But I'm glad you segued or mentioned that, because that does segue into this yacht where we have Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune.
Oh yeah.
And the focus, right? The focus is Saturn, this finger of God aspect, is going to take the perspective. So we have the perspective of analysis here and the magic, and then we have the energy of Scorpio, which is the psychological depth, the psychoanalytical foundation to strengthen through wisdom this analysis. And then Saturn is going to be the potency, the power that focuses it towards this direction, this original direction. So it's going to really influence the nature of this karma and work ethic relative to your own, expression of self, and then your attitude. Neptune in the third is actually the emotional intelligence. Scorpio in the third, it represents deep emotional intelligence, and then that's going to really influence how specifically you deal with others. The eighth house is really dealing with other people. Aries is going to suggest raw and original, but with Saturn with full integrity. And, that, of course, is going to have you hold others accountable to who tries to take advantage of you. Because anyone who does will get their karma, I think, quite immediately, since you're putting yourself vulnerably out there in an effort for destiny itself to protect your own value. So that would be interesting to kind of see. And then you had your nodal return this year. So the North Node is in Aries. So I think that eclipse was really good for unlocking wealth. And now, before your Saturn return, getting ready to really revisit and influence who you're going to move forward with next year when Jupiter goes in your 11th and you may move and you're going to connect with a much more expanded social circle or evolve your current social circle. And then the North Node is going to go into Pisces next year by March, and then it's going to unlock, South Node is going to unlock your mastery of personality. So the focus is going to be towards destined partnerships. And now that shows us that from 2023, Saturn has been raising the standards of your partnerships. It's been normally when Saturn transits 1/7, they get ready for divorce, marriage, business partnerships.
Yeah, I got divorced.
Oh, how recently?
2015.
2015. Okay, so this is when Saturn was still in Scorpio. Good to know. And so since 2015, now it's at 2023. So yeah, this is going to really prepare for more serious partnerships that have matched where you've become. And once again, Saturn Pisces now is a reflection of all the integrity and hard work you had to put on yourself since 2008. So Saturn, since Virgo, has gone all the way there, and now it's in Pisces relative to the last Saturn return you had. And now this is construction on your relationships. What that looks like is since 2023 in March, you've been holding other people accountable in your relationships. When Saturn goes to the 7th, it's going to bring issues and relationship tests to make sure you're not backing down from pressures from others, but you're still holding other people accountable. And through this, and it doesn't have to be bad, this could even represent strengthening partnerships and, moving more seriously. But the purpose of this is it's putting construction to stabilize this so that when the North Node comes through next year, it's going to unlock all these partnerships. And then you're going to get ready to return your Saturn and continue to transform this authority you have to deal with people, to help transform, guide them with your own value, and to push forward. So it's safe to say a lot of this past decade and last year is preparing you for the next couple of years for sure. And then on top of that, you have Neptune that's also transiting your 7th house, trining your Neptune. So Neptune in the 7th transcends a lot more of how you're perceiving beyond the physical when it comes to people. It's like people are holding space to show you not only how their beliefs are influencing their relationship with you, but what spirits, what mindsets, what ideologies are possessing them to be against you, to connect with you. And because you have all this analytical Virgo placements, it unlike others who could be deluded, it helps you hold space so that you can snap people out of their dream and illusion. And the way you may do so may be abrupt, it may be unconventional, it may be scary to people who, they don't know anything other than maybe this lie. So, that's very interesting as far as everything you've gone through the past year and a half, and how you've completed this nodal return to get ready for this next stage. I think it should be celebrated because this is representative of you completing very important cycles, completing that evolution since 2016, harvesting karma and getting ready to come to another Saturn return since 2008, and before that since 97. So it's really, I think, going to play a huge hand moving forward. and how everything is going to be shifting because you've completed that first part and you're getting ready to make do with this evolution. So the Neptune in the third, that's going to be able to, I feel Neptune in Scorpio in the third is able to just, give you insight about people without needing the details beforehand while you still have the details. And then now that it's trine in Pisces, you're able to extend that perceptually and really see it in people, really see it in front of people, present it to people, almost as if out of thin air. And this is what
it gave me the insight to leave NA in June and jump ship and go to a whole different fellowship in July of this year. It really did give me insight to do that. And
in July.
I started a YouTube station in September 11th, 2023, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be about. I basically put my poetry stuff, videos on there, and then I started putting some other stuff, and then I was getting some kickback from everybody, like, we don't want to see this shit, John. And I'm like, okay. And then I got back from Greece and decided to make a couple more videos, and that last video I made on my channel was in August. And now I have a whole new shift of what I want my channel to be. And after I talk with you this week, tomorrow and the next day, even probably today, I have a website, restoringourworldtoparadise.com, and basically it's like a book. So it's like a terrible website because all it is like a book. So now I figured out like how I could change. So this whole retrograde season of Mercury, I want to be changing my website, changing my direction, changing my attitude, and making new stuff for my channel. My channel is called Reality Within, and yeah, that's basically where my direction is going now. I have like a whole new direction that I'm going with everything that I've made, especially on my channel. So.
And I think you could look forward to your channel blowing up unexpectedly too. In fact, now that we're in Sagittarius season, this is the first time that the sun is going to oppose Jupiter in your 10th house. So I think it's going to change your environment. No, that's the 4th house of home. Yeah. But I think it's over the next 6 months increase. And thank you for letting me know July is when this happened, when we were in your 11th house of community. Yeah. So, so that's a really good sign. Like you made you're making the right moves, and all of this is going to come back around by next year, by June 5th of 2025. Boom! Like that's when the sun is going to conjunct Jupiter in that 11th house, 10th house portion, right. And that's going to represent a whole year of just abundance, rewards, being around the right people, coming into this completion, unlocking who you are and all your gifts towards the right people. I think, divine partnerships, relationships, like I wouldn't be surprised if you enter something significant now, if you already have by next year. So everything's kind of opening up and settling for that. And then of course, MC and Gemini, your legacy is to get the truth out. Your legacy is to be heard. And so you fighting against that pushback and just putting yourself out there is the smartest thing you could ever do, because people need to hear your insight. You are literally the embodiment of mastery and perfection through Virgo or improvement at this, So, in now connecting with this North Node Aries, which is challenging yourself to share your value, to put yourself out there, which, you do with great integrity, as we see with Saturn. That it's not only going to open up, but I feel like as Saturn returns throughout the next 3 years, the 8th house is a house of trust. I think this could have you open up a trust, add to an existing trust, come into a huge trust fund, even if not in an official way, still very powerfully. And then, of course, last but not least, we do have Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo is the whistleblower, actually, especially in the 12th. Like, who's going to stand up and not back.
I am going to open up a trust in the next couple months.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We had one for my mom, and we have to wait a year after she passes for if there's any like creditors or stuff like that. So we have the trust still open for my mom, but when she passed, I got like an inheritance, so I want to put that in a trust for my niece and stuff like that, you know.
All right.
So
Thank you.
yeah, that's gonna happen. Yeah.
You just gave me. I have chills right now because now you help me understand what the Saturn return is. So the Saturn return that you're gonna have Aries is you establishing the trust, and then over the next 30 years from then, it's gonna be building that trust, and then just kind of securing you and your family for life. To be honest, so or whoever's a beneficiary and whatnot.
Right.
But thank you, because that's why I love feedback like this, because it really helps me see how to make sense of these things.
I want to tell you a real quick story about. I went to open a trust about a month or so ago, okay, and I walked into the office of this guy, and like, I'm telling him, you know, I'm not sure if I want to give my my trust to my niece, because she doesn't like respond to my calls. She doesn't respond to my texts. She doesn't, you know, but she's like 21 years old. Most kids don't text, you know, and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know if she's willing. And I go, and he's like, oh, that fucking bitch, he says. And I go, what the hell is this motherfucker saying this about my fucking goddamn bitch ass? And he, fuck, who is this guy? And then I said to him, I go, listen, I'm going to ask her to edit my second book, and if she does it, then I'll put her in the trust. And then my sister went, and this and that happened, and then like my sister went, and they told him to meet at like this other office, and like it turns out this guy, I told my sister about him calling my niece a bitch, and my sister's like, what the fuck? And we decided to like, so she pulled out of that thing, and they did like an investigation on him, and now he's no longer with the company, and and because he did like the seminar anyways. So I kind of like saw through this guy is what I'm trying to tell you. I saw through this guy. This guy's not a good person, and like I don't want to have him do my trust. And so my sister went ahead with somebody else, and now I'm like, I just haven't found the time to do that. So yeah, that's the trust story for me.
That's so interesting. And when did this happen?
Like October.
October. Okay. That was the eclipse. Okay, good to know.
Oh, so the eclipse, really?
Right. It was the eclipse opposite your Saturn when the South Node was in Libra. So that lets us, right? So from that to April. So that gives me a timeline for those 6 months. Since they're related, I think you can look forward to January when we're in Capricorn, and then March, April, past the eclipse. And I think every week from now is going to just guide you towards, you know, succeeding in that, getting that established, set up. It seems to be a part of this nodal destiny mission with the return.
So you're saying to start it in February?
No.
Start now?
I think you can start it whenever.
Okay.
But you're going to, the fact that happened in October lets us know that by March you're going to have it complete. Like it's going to be set up and everything.
Okay.
It's right.
Yeah.
So we can look towards October to February and March, rather to setting it up and then moving forward. And that's really what 2024 was about. 2024 was about shifting our perspective and changing everything. And then we're going to move forward in that new direction in 2025. And then scale to the rest of the decade. But yeah, Uranus is going to leave Taurus. It's going to start to go into Gemini late to 2025, coming into 2026. And that's where your MC is. So that's going to unconventionally shift how much maybe a YouTube channel or just your presence out there and your word out there is going to be heard. Very unconventionally. I think it could even bring virality in a certain sense. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Jupiter right now has expanded your reputation, your career, your legacy. And then over the rest of the decade, Uranus is going to go through there and it's going to speed things up. It's going to innovate it. It's going to accelerate it. It's going to make it your success highly unconventional. So I think you getting this all ready in between means that you're right on time. You're flowing perfectly. Mars in Leo for the 12th represents hidden action, passionate action, but it could represent inhibitive function where you may hold back sometimes, or you may take action more hidden and private. But it does still represent the passion and boldness with which you'll stand on what you believe and not back down. And it also represents certain unconscious habits that when fallen back on could hold you back, but now when transcended is actually like a supernatural power, this resilience to just keep moving forward and not give up, really. But yeah, something to keep in mind, because Mars is in Leo right now, so it's going to retrograde back into Cancer, and then next year it's going to go through Leo, and then just kind of so if you feel lethargic, maybe not like doing much, this is just kind of preparing you coming into next year to restore that energy, restore that desire and motive. But yeah, I mean, other than that, you've had your Chiron return, you've had your Nodal return, and now you're gonna have your Saturn return, and then that should be and then also the last thing I want to say is we're clearly concluding these themes from like 2016, from 2008, from 97. So once we get to 2028, Jupiter is going to be back in the Virgo. And that's what's going to launch a brand new 12-year cycle for you relative to your rising. Wow. So everything from now until then is completion. You're coming into the rewards, you're shifting gears, and that's where if things kind of fall off or change, it's just because it's getting you ready for a brand new cycle and a brand new chapter. So you just want to look at it like, okay, this is me coming into the rewards of everything I've evolved in myself since 2016, and this is just going to shift how it is you're connecting with other people and moving forward with other people.
So I've heard Mars and Leo in the 12th be called like the spiritual warrior.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's like I think in the 12th, because I have Mars and Aries in the 12th, but I feel but Aries is going to be hot right now, and then it's going to lose energy. Your Mars in Leo is like a bonfire.
Yeah.
It's going to, and it's going to keep it. I think in the 12th, you may not be so quick to anger. You may hold it back, but then once it comes out,
it's like a volcano.
Yeah. Right.
Holy shit! I'm explosive sometimes, but that hasn't happened in a long, long time. But I mean, I've been like, especially in my marriage. Oh my god.
What was her zodiac sign?
She was a Leo sun.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, she was hot as fuck. She had a nice ass, but she wasn't a nice person. She was very mean-spirited to everybody. So we were together from first date till divorce for 11 years, and we were married for 5.
Steve. And okay, and I feel like with the timing of that, you said 2012, like that was after you completed
No, I got divorced 2015.
2015, right? Yeah. I think that was when it was leaving Scorpio, going into Sagittarius. So that kind of aligns with interesting timing. I'll say that Saturn was opposite your Saturn back in like 2012. So then by 2015, boom, the 8th house of cutting or transformation, stuff like that just lets me know, you're aligned with the right time, and so I mean, if anything, I'm gonna send you this recording, but I'd love to keep in touch. I think this was really educational, definitely for me. And any questions that you have, please don't hesitate to hit me up. I'd definitely love to help you answer them.
All right, thanks, Michael.
No problem. You're gonna get this recording from Transfer. So yeah, I'll just send it to you there.
All right. Now I recorded it for myself with video. Would you be opposed to eventually me putting it on my station or no?
Oh, that's totally fine.
Okay, I'll let you know if when I do it though. If I want to do it and when.
Normally, I need permission from you if I want to upload it, but as far as this is all yours. Whatever you decide to do with it, it's all up to you. Yeah, that's totally fine. All right. Well, I'm gonna send you this recording right now once again, and I'll attach the chat, the chart, the picture of the chart to it too.
Okay, definitely.
Right.
Well,
All right, you
have a
blessed
great night, great day, and the rest of the week.
Call recording off.
Wow. You got your Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Venus, Pluto. That's profound.
I got a whole big ass stellium there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy sometimes.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I like try to get things done, and there's too many things I want to get done. And I struggle to. I don't know if I struggle, but I manage to get as much as I can done in a day.
That makes sense. Still, that's a lot of mental energy and physical energy you must go through in a given day, which could be super stressful, but at the same time, I wonder if there's anything that even escapes your glands. I feel like this is borderline supernatural at this point. I'm kind of interested in understanding how you harness this energy, because your sun and moon are closer to the 12th house of the chart. So it's going to give you a profound ability. I mean, of course, to see the details of life itself, but I feel like it's at an even deeper level to where you're seeing the details of the details. Like, you might even see the actual atom particles, or at least, be very aware of certain things that haven't been seen yet. I feel like energy like this, it kind of, first of all, Virgos actually are, and you would be no different, because you're not just a Virgo. You're born 68, so you have Neptune in Scorpio, and even this Aries energy is going to be pivotal to how you can transform with this trigger. But I see this as like being aware of the uncertainty principle that governs really conscious manifestation. And it's like, before certain people see something exists or even know it's real, it's like the Schrodinger's cat, that you don't know if they're dead in the box or alive in the box, but it's like, I would almost think you represent that moment before the box is open, or you're seeing inside that box of infinite potentiality, which is like counterintuitive because Virgo represents that specific finite point.
Okay.
This will probably reflect on how you could witness this in others, because Neptune is opposite your Virgo energy. So all this energy, you're now in a position to project, or at least hold space for, to see all these details. Or I hate to even stress details, because it's just going to really bring in the totality, and then see into an extra dimension with all that within others, within the souls, the windows of the souls, or to people, through their eyes or through their aura. And outside of that, this Virgo energy is going to carry with it a manifestation property that allows you to literally mold and make something from nothing. Because there is a real magical property to Virgo too. And I'm just really stacking these definitions because it's important to stress the power. I mean, you live with this energy, but all this in your first will also indicate how well you could recreate yourself and work on your own personality and image. But I mean, we have Pluto and Uranus here. Being instrument of these two give you an extreme intolerance for fakeness, and it really just like makes you an instrument to obliterate that which isn't founded in truth, and you'll just be a radar to kind of like shake that out of systems which are founded in falsities. It's just important to know the extent at which such energies are attracted to you and you're drawn to it for the sole purpose of just fixing it, because it's still a frequency, even if it's like a certain sense an ideology or thought. If it's not really true, of course, especially in its if something physical was not even made in truth, that in itself will cause some kind of reaction to at least come from your aura. And this will be important because you don't have Capricorn or Taurus, but that does not take away from the fact that your tactile sense and touch has magical properties that will range from anywhere from, you know, psychometry, you picking up all sorts of information from what you touch, to influencing whatever you touch. I mean, we have Jupiter here involved too, so that 12th house influence is just going to really add a divine level to the ultimate nature and the hindsight of facts you receive, to where it's supplementing what you already see. All these things with your progressed Mars in Virgo highlighting this will really add frustration. A lot of this Virgo energy, it can add a lot of frustration because, for example, dark forces may be able to use this, or any such negative energies could be able to use this hyper focus you have against you. But then again, this is where Saturn and Aries will apply protection, and then Pluto and Virgo, because in a counterintuitive way that may make it on the surface seem that you're pushing people away and you have very harsh boundaries, but couldn't even be further from the truth. It's really just more so allowing zero tolerance for anyone who's just not real into your inner world. And it's just kind of an automatic detector of this. Things to keep in mind, because once again, with Neptune in Scorpio, this makes you extremely telepathic and extremely psychic, because it's one thing to have this psychic energy where everyone in that generation has foresight and will just know, like, if someone's lying, or will just know how to gauge someone's emotional response psychologically. But then this is supplemented by all the facts and the details you're able to look into in a single moment, which, I mean, we have Merlin, the asteroid, Pars of Fortune. It's a really great part of like abundance for you. Something that Jupiter, which is return, has evolved, and now that it's in your third house, it's evolving how you form your skill set based on these innate gifts and talents from you. So the quincunx we have at Aries with Saturn, it deals with others in a harsh way, but it's not really harsh as much as it is straight up and direct. It's going to anchor this energy so that when you transform into this more raw self, where your destiny is aligned, you don't lose control, if anything. And also, you don't necessarily come into any unstable balance through shifting energies with all that mutable sign energy. I kind of see it as like an anchor. And it also trines your Mars and Leo. So Mars and Leo in the 12th could be hard sometimes for dealing with anger, but usually it will help when you're able to apply this forward towards any, interesting means that enable how well you directly act based off of what you're aware of. And Mars in the 12th will usually indicate secretive action, where you take action privately. I mean, that 12th house fire will also indicate keeping private your more ambitious or vibrant fire and excitement. Why 12th house Mars is in Aries right now? It's close to the 11th, but it's so close to the 12th that it's like it's progressed there, and it a lot of what I do is like personal. I mean, Aries is also singular too, but because you have your North Node in Aries closer to the 8th and the 7th, this will extend your destiny forward towards compromising and being in relationships. But it's an Aries, so Aries is less about compromise and literally about doing what you want to do, and in the context of how you want to establish and define a relationship. It's 7th house Aries is you defining relationships based on how you define yourself. And it's so close to the 8th house that your resources of who you are, the resources of your security and how you build security, will help you deal with others in this raw and authentic way. Because with Saturn on the North Node, this means that you're here to not only give people judgment of karma for who they are, but Chiron will even offer healing. So it's like if you fall on, this is a bad example, but it's like if you fall on a good judgment, you can normalize them and help them. If not, it's like you're stamping with Saturn their karma. It's actually very powerful to have Saturn in the same sign as your North Node, because it gives you it could be very difficult and challenging to deal with this, but it adds so much karmic power personally for you, which makes your actions that much more impactful, which is very much so a double-edged sword. And since your progressed sun is in Libra, this is allowing you to feel off the South Node level, really helping you master parts of your personality and how you gain security through forming valuable partnerships. So when we take this lunar eclipse now in Leo and Aquarius, which is coming out of your 6th and 12th house, you're establishing through the advanced techniques that the South Node has been uncovering for you and that you have been putting into motion. You're gaining an important level of spirituality, and this is manifesting through how well you could reach into the hearts of those who are lonely. And it's not really so much about loneliness, but it's a theme here because it's what will tie in people who on the surface may have nothing to do with each other. But because Mars is being triggered here, the power of your heart is going to be evolved and unlocked. It's just a lot of how you take action in these I say spiritual ways because it takes into account more of your intuition and your heart's impulse of what's going on ultimately versus the surface, that will really guide and lead you into also a more creative way of connecting, a more creative way of harnessing this power and energy, and most importantly, definitely a creative way to anchor most of this power through your subconscious force into your being. Because this Mars energy is still progressing to Virgo right now, but the the 12th house, 6th house eclipse energy focuses a lot on coming up with greater ways to balance these advanced techniques. Technically, the 12th house will indicate, the 12th house, 6th house indicates service work and helping the downtrodden, or at least dealing with certain facets that help you fine tune your spirituality due to the isolation part of the 12th house. But this is more so going to once again reiterate how your developed behavior utilizes your telepathic and psychic ability in order to reach a deeper place within people's hearts that you'll find triggered by the way you act without necessarily even speaking to people. And this is going to slowly move into the 11th house. The eclipse will be around 15 degrees, but it moving out of the 6th, 12th into your 11th, 5th will start to take the resources of your advanced talents and great talents and begin to connect you to your social circle and tribe. It's a little bit different when it's the south node in the 5th instead of the 11th, because you're, instead of gaining resources of people who naturally gravitate towards you, now it's more so you bringing forth and brushing up your already amazing talents so that you can go connect with this group. And a lot of Mars being very close to your 11th house, just in the 12th, will incorporate a lot of how this shifts. Once again, though, because Mars in the 12th is going to be aspected by Jupiter, that's currently in your 3rd house. A lot of how you inspire this private action will be dependent on what you'll be communicating and how your attitude will be transforming based on what happens when you take certain private action. And it's showing you more so the deeper significance and meaning of the things you're aware of and the techniques you employ, as well as the way you generally overall live your life. It's a little bit difficult to speak on both Scorpio and the 12th house Leo, because most of this is really dependent on your behavior and certain private, I don't want to say things, but just a certain mode of privacy that you enact, which will enable things close to you. If you found that anxiety has been triggered, it's because the North Node is releasing, and that's vague to say because there's a lot of things that will cause anxiety, but if you found that it's more around, even getting some sleep or a lot to do with your sexual energy, the North Node is releasing a lot of pent or built up sexual energy in an effort to facilitate its evolution and shift. A lot of the actions you will be taking will lead you a lot towards the right people who mirror these concerns, so that you, in an effort, can show people how to deal with certain things they may not be willing to share publicly. And that's really that 8th house, 12th house hidden aspect that isn't even so much hidden as much as it's more subconscious and, in a certain level, psychological. And I think one great thing about this is the North Node transit is trining your North Node in Aries. So this is going to align with your karma already. And a lot of how you sort through these private lessons will directly relate with how you can relate directly towards others and fulfill that important part of your karma. We also have Uranus that's close to your Saturn around this period. So once we step into May and this slips into Taurus, you will immediately be feeling this evolution as electricity will shoot through your fingertips and augment the way you deal with others in a very creative way that makes physical a lot of these impulses instead of just mental in your head and just in your aura. When we have this moon transit from the lunar eclipse, the moon will transit from your 12th to your 3rd. And that first week of that eclipse period, as we open the portal into the solar eclipse, will help utilize how you have grown from 6 months from August 2017, really laying the foundation to really develop more of these advanced techniques and skills that you take all this magical ability you have and stick and exert, gaining forth knowledge you've either channeled and downloaded or really just uncovered, through your experiences to, apply into your life directly, because any such techniques you've gained have been augmented halfway through in October, November, when Jupiter went into your 3rd house. So a lot of these techniques have been, of course, complemented by the evolution of your attitude and skills, where Jupiter has been taking your emotional intelligence and increasing the depth to which you could add a lot of your flavor to because of an increased awareness and more so a deeper understanding of why people do what they do around you and the purpose of such. So that now, once the moon does hit Scorpio, maybe the first week of February, definitely the first week of February, it's just really going to utilize what you're ready to, what about this evolution of your attitude you're ready to apply directly to these advanced techniques. I mean, the purpose of the solar eclipse isn't more in reverse to take these advanced techniques and to fully, now push forward to what spiritual techniques are really, what spirituality you develop through this, the spiritual lifestyle that I say spiritual lifestyle, but really the quality of heart you maintain so that you keep all that passion in your heart and you stay motivated because of the love that you allow to spur you on, but also the courage and passion that spirit uses, or spirit is in a position to inspire you through. And as the moon travels from Scorpio to Aquarius to that solar eclipse, this will supplement this evolution of skill set, having you show how much you've grown into practical ways to develop this through your talents. And then, of course, really start the solar eclipse where you're establishing what your routine and lifestyle is based on this. Although being closer into your 5th house will illustrate the need to balance these routines and techniques with your talents and with what you're already doing, to, with Saturn in your 5th house, really structure a lot of what you're already gifted at and what you're willing to express fully. So yeah, do you have any questions?
Yeah. One thing I'm struggling with is all these directions that I want to go in. I was divorced in 2015, August, and ever since then I've been living in my mom's house. And I realized I had to get out of here. Mm-hmm. But I can't, because I work part-time for her, doing apartment buildings, property managing, and that actually is enough to pay my bills for the most part. And now, this past week on Sunday, I went out to an industrial park, and I went to see all these different places. There was about 45 to 50 places that I went to in the industrial park, and I took the names of the companies down, and I was going to go in there and on either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I haven't done the intel yet as far as figuring out what all these companies do. I've had a lot of jobs. I've had a lot of jobs that I've been fired from and also quit. I had 6 jobs. No, 6 jobs that I quit and 3 jobs that I got fired from in the past 4 years. So my resume looks like shit. And before that, I used to be working for a dealership of ADT. I used to knock on 100 doors a day. So that's where I saw my magic happening when I was working that job. It was 100% commission. I did it for 3 solid years, and I made really good money at it.
Nice.
So what I was thinking about doing is going out to these businesses and seeing if they would hire me. But from the looks of it, my resume really looks terrible. It looks like it's like, what's this guy doing with all these jobs? I may end up going back to my old boss, which probably is what's going to happen. But I want to try this out for myself, see if I can get a job without going to him, and then going to him and having him hire me back, and I could work, full time doing that. But I also have YouTube stations that I want to start up. Well, one YouTube station in particular, Spellcaster Johnny T, and it's about my Know Thyself journey, because this past 3 years I had this journey of Know Thyself, where I learned about astrology, numerology, and a bunch of other stuff like that. And I also finished writing a book called Water Slide Time Machine Portals, which I have in my hand right now.
Nice.
And it's a proof right here. And I gotta finish going over it, and then finish. I have some errors that I found. So probably in the next couple of days, that would be sent out for another proof. And then when I get that, then I'll publish the book. It's a poetry short fiction book.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like the stuff that I have up in the air. I have about 900 audio clips that I have made of me going through my process of knowing thyself with astrology, Myers-Briggs, I have an ENFP, and all these different things. I have these audio clips that I've already pre-made. So
nice.
Putting them together and like conveyor belt, putting them out, it was going to be easy to do.
Yeah.
So I got all this stuff in the fire, and I'm ready to do something. And I'm also a recovering drug addict. My clean date is in November 1994. So I've got over 23 years clean, no drugs or alcohol.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. So my sponsor told me, he's like, John, man, he goes, because I was going to do a part-time job. He's like, John, forget the part-time job, do a full-time job, because if you want something to get done, give it to a busy person. And he said, get the full-time job, and then in a couple months, get out of your mom's house, and then you'll be able to fit. It's 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of whatever you want to do. Because you'll be able to do and structure your own time and get everything done. And I think that's the plan that I'm having right now in my head.
Mm.
And so I don't understand what progress means. I don't know what it means. So if you could explain what a progress chart does, because you said something about Libra. My son's in Libra now. Yeah,
your progress charts just take your natal chart and they progress the energies. A day, every year will be a day in the Affirmus, let's say. So,
wow.
Yeah, so based on today, your progress chart birthday is as if you were born October 12th, 1968, and it shifts your chart there. So you're progressed Cancer moon now with the Libra sun. But I think what's more key here is a lot of what you kind of indicated with not just the work and the YouTube and the pre-record material is great. You want to definitely follow through with that, because that makes a lot of sense now, where the Jupiter in the 3rd is coming through and you're ready to move forward. don't worry about the job because you have an MC in Gemini. Anyone who I've ever read who has an MC in Gemini or Sag, they have to have multiple jobs because
Okay.
the universe has to use you to set the job straight. It's not even that you had multiple jobs. When you went to those jobs, you enlightened people to the truth of the upper level management, and you kind of corrected and fixed some stuff, and then on to the next job. Even if it seemed on the surface that you might have gotten fired or quit in a certain place, in fact, you'd probably be the one quitting because you had to move on to the next job. So that's
Right.
actually meant to happen. It doesn't look the best on a resume, but definitely follow your hunches toward whatever job you want to apply to. The tools for self-employment are definitely here for you as you have kind of built yourself up there, and a lot of the stuff you've gone through with even your ex-wife was purely karmic, so the universe itself has to reimburse you. So you're just not really caught in this rock and hard place. Saturn just got out your 4th house of home, so that's what's going to clear up energy, especially once Jupiter goes here closer to 2019. You will have an opportunity to move into your own place, and it's already in the works now. So
In 2019, you're saying?
yeah, and way before that, because it's in the 3rd house. Whenever Jupiter's in your 4th, this is what gives you the opportunity to get a new place or to move. And Jupiter will leave Scorpio October of this year, but you may find the opportunity to move before then because it's in your 3rd already.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Alrighty, I've sent you a tarot card to your Skype chat. Yeah, I get the 2 of Cups. There might be a new relationship with this Queen of Pentacles. The 6 of Wands is indicating that you may connect with her online. And it's really just more so speaking of you sailing towards a positive future, because at the end we have this Fool card. The Fool card is going to be indicative closer to mid-February, where you're standing your ground on whatever you have, but there's a brand new adventure and phase that will facilitate everything that you're wanting to accomplish already. So definitely the stuff you're patient about and having focus. I really feel really good about these audio tapes, and it's going to be really great for you to release them and to really detail your journey, because a lot of people do need to hear it more than you're aware, and I think you'll see that turn around. So yeah, if anything, this eclipse period will set you up for greater work, because the 6th house is the house of work, and it's definitely going to hook you up there. And but it's more so to bridge your own spiritual energy with whatever physical work you really do and or provide. So you stay blessed. Thank you very much, John, for ordering this Astro report. This is the Peace Dealer, and I hope you gain the utmost of value from this. This, of course, is quite interesting because I see you are a double Virgo, triple Virgo, with the stellium there, and then you were also born in the 60s. Just to add to that, this is such a extreme level of critical energy that you could say it's super powered and super magical. It's the essence of really being able to be aware of every single critical detail of your awareness in the moment at once. So I'm really glad that you got this snapshot transit forecast too, because your destiny is being activated this month so that you take this expanded awareness of who you are, which has been awakened more so since 2016 and is shifting profoundly now that it's in Libra. But yeah, as far as your astro report is concerned, I'm very glad you decided to get this, because it's very rare to have this combination of energies. Pluto will never be back in Virgo for anyone's lifetime. And same as Uranus. So to have all this together in the first, it's the most unique, unconventional, original expression of kindness in some sense, but really the critical psychoanalytical awareness of one's behavior through your own personality, which is going to be on point, perfect, striving to be calculating and strategic. The best part about Virgo energy or Virgos is that they're very strategic and can use the information they analyze to really predict things, not through psychic energy, but through literal facts. So your Mercury and Venus on here is what helps you come into some profound awareness of the or in fortune whenever you tie this into who you are. And to even add to that, what makes me such a great communicator is that Mercury is on my rising sign. And you have this on yours, but Mercury rules Virgo in some senses, and Jupiter's here, so you have such a abundant and lucky way of divinely processing and analyzing information, rapid speed, to how it has to do with you and how you communicate what you want. But all this is happening in the context of you having your spirit and soul together aligned in the 12th house, which is basically a superpower. And you are now like acutely aware of both worlds. You're like a double, not an agent, but you live a double life for sure. And what can be really hard is learning how to integrate the private awareness you have and the stuff you really see that you can't tell anyone, and how to still communicate what it is you have to process. There are certain things that you have to draw on that which may seem like you're imagining, but it's more of the spiritual creation happening before anyone else is aware. And then at the same time, switching your speech so that people don't know that you literally saw the thought bubble forming on their head that made them know what they were going to say before they said it to you. So this is another thing where I say it could be like living a double life. Saturn in Aries can be incredibly stressful, as this quincunx will very strictly push you to enforce boundaries with people who don't respect who you are or who can't be on your level, which is very odd to say, but Saturn, especially in this sign, can be very elitist and strict and impatient. So that's one thing that's being activated, which I'll speak on in the Snapshot transit forecast. But to add to this dynamic and energy, it's definitely a powerful force that adds to the acute precision of energy you harness at a moment's notice, making something so difficult as this part of karma for you and turning it into something very, perfect. So what makes it perfect is this yod from Pluto and Uranus sextiling Neptune to Saturn, this triangle here, and it hyper accelerates and evolves the nature which information and literal reality manifests for you, and gives you personally a special awareness of how this psychologically influences those around you. All gangster though. This is movie stuff, Matrix, and people have no idea you have it like this too. It's actually really amazing. More so now because you are older and mature enough to fully extend and control this. Your Pluto in Virgo is now in Capricorn, making a perfect trine to where you could literally through your heart control a whole lot that was literally impossible to, because you're now being aware of everything your subconscious is aware of, and your subconscious can be aware of like millions of things at once, and for your conscious mind to also simultaneously know how to process these bits of information while letting you know, like a mentalist, how it's influencing someone's thoughts and behaviors. This is what lets you, make snap sudden, impulsive decisions about, you know, what actions to take based off of this. It's hard to speak on because you're now incorporating the opposite side of this in Aries. And Aries quincunxes with Virgo and Scorpio are bridging greater balance by making sure and restraining that creative force in Aries and making sure it doesn't go too out of hand, while also stimulating the Virgo and Scorpio so it doesn't stay too stagnant. Ultimately, your Mars and Leo will take all this very grounded energy and fuel it into initiatives and energies that stimulate those around you. I have Mars in my chart in the 11th house in Aries, and it can lend to that ability, since it's in fire, to really make large amounts of people hype. But it's progressed in your 12th house. I'm sure it's on your first, so there's going to still be, it's close to enough to where you may feel a suppression of this ego and passionate drive, and it may take a whole lot for your sex drive to come up. It's actually because of the influence of the 12th, where so much divine energy is suppressing it. And this personally is because when you get mad, very nefarious things can occur. And it's not that you can't control it, but it's just to buffer for the amount of rage that you can actually possess. Thankfully, you have such strength of character that this isn't so much of an issue, but it is a potential. And with your North Node in Aries, this is the most important part, being that it's your destiny to define who you are in relationships, but it's you that has to do so. North Node in Aries is awesome, even if it's in the 7th house, because it's your destiny to be who you are and to define that identity is. So basically, it's the only karmic path where you're destined to do whatever you want. And it can be hard for some people, especially like you as an angel who is here to service the gods or humanity. And sometimes it could be, this is why you're a first house sun or your 12th house, but this is why you have first house energy, so that you can learn or teach others really by you learning how better to express who you are in all your partnerships, as you will define the context of those partnerships. And any relationships where someone else defines it, because they're not as aware as you are of, the mastery of consciousness you possess, this can kind of cause things to delay or stagnate or be a bit dramatic in its effect. To reiterate, the dynamic and quantum nature of all this Virgo energy you possess acutely makes you aware of the details in profound ways that no one else may be able to understand. So this can lead to such an intensity of mental stress, and and you definitely always have, but there's just always going to be that hyper neurotic tendency to obsess over the same details over and over in a desperate attempt to change it, because as a double-edged sword, you actually do have that ability to change and bend reality to your will under certain conditions being met based off of what you're consciously aware of. This has once again a lot to do with the sextile your outer planets make, taking your personal awareness of energies and juxtaposing it with the extraneous influences that literally manipulate the opportunities and doors
you can allow others to open through, or yourself, whether through like conversation and saying things that mix people's heads up, or exposing the truth in this weird way. There's so much powerful emotional intelligence that you possess, which helps you read minds through the actions people take, which reveal the psychological natures of who they truly are. So a lot of this energy is being triggered, as we'll talk about once again in the snapshot transit forecast that I'll attach to this astrology report. But you don't necessarily want to ever distrust the divine nature of the energy you're aware of, because now this sun and moon position in the 12th house is keying you into the ultimate reality of reality. The Virgo is actually meant to be in the 12th house, because this is the insane asylums and the clinics that really scientifically test that which, through trial and error or through the right facts, govern the laws of existence. And you having your sun and moon in the 12th house of Pisces, the 12th house of Virgo, is being able to literally see the matrix codes and see into the details of spirituality, and proving that, you know, it's not something, this isn't a realm where you just leave to fate, and to where some things are mystery and where you could really tie things together, which once again, now that your energies have matured to the full extent, which is what normally happens to any human individual after 40 to 50 years, you really get to enjoy this and reap and use the full extent of all of this, once again, in very powerful ways. What is going to lend to how greatly you can facilitate all of this is how much you exercise your Mars and Leo, which is aligning the energy to your heart so that you're in a better position to make more courageous moves that may take you outside your comfort zone, but simultaneously embolden the hearts of others around you with love, peace, but really just more so love and courage. And your Saturn in the 8th house is actually a source of power deep within you that is actually meant to transform and control how deeply you transform, and harness this intense, deep part of yourself. So that being said, when it comes to this transit snapshot forecast report, it's extremely amazing that you got this now, because the transits in April alone are triggering you so profoundly. We have the North Node of Destiny, 1 degrees Virgo on your sun, having you to be aware of the influence of karma and how it flows through you, how you're opening and closing doors for people, and most importantly, how this is getting ready to shift into Leo and bring out the divine nature of your heart, so that by 2018, top of 2018, karma is aligning you to the soul group where you truly feel you belong. And Aries season is so thoroughly transforming a lot of shadow tendencies through your awareness of the dark natures of people's spirits, or just the dark nature of people's identities. And it's not so much that this has to be such a dark chapter, but because you're a 12th house sun, you'll be uncovering at great length the real underlying reason why people will be acting the way they act. And the influence of your North Node getting triggered is helping you know what relationships affirm who you're becoming and what take away and lead you astray. if you're willing to take the proper action based off your awareness of the true soul nature of these people, you'll be in a precedented advantage, or rather position of influencing where these people head. Your Pluto and Virgo, honestly, is going to take no prisoners. So this may really add a huge sense of irritation, as your soul will pick up on ulterior motives, especially all through this month, as it picks up in the 8th house. Venus retrograde that has gone direct now is changing the quality of relationships that you bring into your life forever, with also this opposition and to Pluto, but most especially Uranus. That's going to, based off of how you express who you are, magically influence your relationships by mirroring that, so you see into the divine nature of what's happening around both of you. This is important because once we move into May and the end of April, Venus direct will hit your Chiron, and you'll have that double healing effect as it once again moves over your karma. But April and this Aries season, in a nutshell for you, is transforming through the raw nature of your identity and shedding that which gets in the way of you blinding yourself to your own greatness, really. There is a whole lot of spiritual protection that you're building in the form of positive affirmations and seeding into who you can trust and what gives you a foundation of freedom. So because all this energy has fully matured, this is going to put you in such a huger level of power when it comes to actually harnessing a majority of this energy. In fact, you may actually discover how to control your Saturn over the next 2 days, as Mercury will retrograde past this at an even greater level and extent. So because you've already had this Jupiter over your sun, your first house, the major lesson of your destiny is uncovered and unveiled, and you could really use this in a powerful way to help you move forward, as well as to give you the right perception of how to blow the whistle when you do it in May. And not necessarily like telling people certain things, but the truth coming out through you just by being there. Thank you once again for ordering this snapshot report. I hope you enjoyed it, and an astrology report too, and stay blessed.